At the last council meeting, something extraordinary happened. Councillors started adding organisations for grant funding on the chamber roll without those groups having gone through the proper application and assessment process.
So we're jumping right into the middle of the action here. With just those words, a councillor proposes a brand new recipient for a pretty sizable community grant right there on the spot. Now this group, they weren't on the official list of recommendations, but suddenly they're in the running for $18,000 of public cash.
And believe me, that was just the start. It's like that one motion just opened the floodgates. Seeing what was happening, other councillors started jumping in, nominating their own preferred organizations, and adding thousands more to the total, all of it happening live, right there in the meeting.
The proposals just started flying. First, you have the blessing of the fleet for 18 grand. Then another councillor chimes in, what about Waterfest? Let's give them 3,000. A third one proposes $1,000 for Soldier On. And boom, just like that, there's $22,000 in new, unvetted grants on the table.
But hold on, not everyone was okay with this. The meeting records show that some councillors started pushing back almost immediately. One of them actually said, and I'm quoting here, "I do feel it is a little bit inappropriate to be adding and removing groups on the council floor." And that, right there, set the stage for a debate that wasn't just about the money, but about the entire process.
So this brings us to the heart of our explainer today. It's all about process. Because what went down in that meeting room makes you wonder, is this really how public money is supposed to be given out?
Let's just ask the question plainly. Can your elected officials just decide on a whim who gets taxpayer money? Can they just bypass all the official rules and procedures? Well, to figure that out, we need to take a look at the rulebook.
And yep, there is a rulebook. In this case, it's called the Shoalhaven Community Wellbeing Grants Policy. This is the actual document that's designed to make sure these decisions are made the right way and that it's a fair go for everyone involved.
And the whole point of this policy is summed up by 3 really important words: consistent, equitable, and transparent. Now, this language is absolutely key. These aren't just nice-to-have suggestions. They're the core principles meant to guarantee that every single dollar is awarded fairly and, legally.
The policy itself lays out a super clear 4-step process. Step 1, groups have to submit a formal application. Step 2, a panel of professional council staff assesses and scores every single one against a fixed set of criteria. Step 3, that panel makes official recommendations, and only then is the very last step. The elected councillors get to make the final decision based on those recommendations. See? It's designed to be totally impartial and based on facts.
Okay, so here's where it gets interesting. How does this official, by-the-book process stack up against what actually went down in that council chamber? Let's put the rules and the reality side by side. And when you do that, the difference is, well, it's pretty shocking. On one side, you have the reality of the meeting. Groups just added on the fly, no applications, no staff review, nothing. On the other side, you have the rules, a structured, methodical process built for fairness. The two are polar opposites.
Now, you might be thinking, so what? Community groups still got the money, right? But here's the thing. Skipping the process has really serious consequences. We're talking about the bedrock principles of fairness, legality, and maybe most importantly, public trust.
When the process gets ignored, these are the things that are put at risk. I mean, what about fairness to all the groups who spent hours, maybe weeks, putting their applications together properly? What about transparency when huge decisions are made with no public paper trail? And where's the accountability for how our money is being spent?
And look, this isn't just about bad form. It could have real legal consequences. The sources we've looked at make it very clear that ignoring a policy like this could be a breach of the council's own code of conduct and maybe even the Local Government Act itself. And whenever local rules get bent this badly, it can start to attract attention from the state level. We're talking about oversight bodies like the Office of Local Government, the NSW Ombudsman, or even, in the worst-case scenario, the Independent Commission Against Corruption, if they think something is seriously wrong.
So, if you're a resident and you see something like this happening, you're probably asking, what can I actually do about it? Well, the good news is there are clear pathways for the public to step in and hold their council accountable.
You can start small and local. Just contact your councillor and ask them to explain their reasoning. You can also make a formal submission to the council's CEO, pointing out the policy breach. If you think it's more serious, you can use those official oversight channels we just talked about. And finally, don't underestimate the power of engaging publicly. Talk about it, and make sure the issue doesn't just fade away.
Which really leaves us with one last massive question.
In our local democracy, we give councillors the power to make big decisions for us, but we also create procedures to make sure that power is used fairly. So where do we, as a community, draw the line between a councillor's power to act and the public's right to a process that's transparent and equitable for everyone? It's a question worth thinking about.
This behaviour risks breaching Section 8B of the Act, which requires councils to act in a financially responsible, transparent and equitable way. It also raises code of conduct concerns. Councillors are bound to act impartially, avoid showing favouritism and ensure decisions are fair and transparent. When councillors pick winners outside the process, they risk undermining community trust, disadvantaging applicants who followed the rules. This isn't just about a few community grants, it's about trust. Residents and community groups expect decisions on public money to be made fairly, transparently, and in line with adopted policies. When councillors shortcut the process, it undermines the integrity of council and risks, dragging the Shoalhaven into the kind of dysfunction state agencies have repeatedly warned about. The rules exist for a reason, to make sure every organisation is treated equally, every dollar is accounted for, and every councillor is held to the same standards of integrity. Ratepayers have both the right and the responsibility to demand that councillors follow the law and uphold the principles of fairness, accountability and transparency. Bottom line, councillors cannot lawfully just add organisations to grant allocations outside the process.
On the council, truth to light.